All right. Marcus Ely here for Status Coup, and we are outside of the Bernie Sanders rally at Cheyenne High School. Can you guys tell me a little bit about what brought you in to see Senator Sanders today?
Well, the thing that I love about Bernie is that he's a more vintage Democrat on economic issues, on issues of health care. And you can look, by looking through his track record, you can tell that he actually means what he says. That when he says he wants Medicare for all, it's not some, milk toast half promise. You know that he means it. And the main thing I'd say that elevates Bernie over everybody else is his dedication to getting the money out of politics and ending the corrupting influence that special interests have, because that really is the root of so many problems as to why we just can't solve anything, is because there's so much special interest money, whether it be the fossil fuel lobby, whether it be pharmaceutical companies, that just gums up the works. So as far as our government, how it doesn't work, they're getting the government they pay for. They don't want the government to do anything because their power is consolidated that way. So he's the only one that's serious about addressing that issue. And until we address that as a country, none of these other problems matter. And so Bernie, I think, is the one that has the chops. He has the record to where I actually believe him when he says he's going to challenge the status quo.
And what about you, sir?
It's the Medicare for All issue. It's really important. We have so many people that are not covered by insurance. They need to be covered. They need to be able to get insurance, and that's why I'm here.
30,000 people a year dying from preventable causes in the wealthiest country in the world just doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make sense. It just
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
yeah, it's just horrible how our healthcare program is so different, because it's more designed, since it's so for profit, to treat people when they get sick as opposed to keeping people healthy. And I mean, we spend more per capita on healthcare than every other first world developed country, and yet we don't cover it anybody. We don't cover everybody. There are people that are dying from being underinsured or just having no insurance whatsoever. And people, the only plan that they can afford is with a deductible so high they can't afford to use it. So what do you do in that situation? So Medicare for all is the only way to go. The only way to go.
Yeah, definitely. I have friends that are hardcore fiscal conservative Republicans that are like, no, dude, Medicare for all, definitely, because it just saves money. It makes more sense. Investing in preventative care is just being proactive versus being reactive. Basic life skills applied to our healthcare system.
And it's more pro business too. I mean, you can make a fiscally conservative argument for it. And the one thing that I love about Medicare for all is people won't be shackled to jobs that they really don't want to do, that they hold on to because they have a health care plan, because my kids get covered. It will give them freedom of mobility in the economy. They'll be able to open businesses. They'll be able to follow their dreams in a better way, as opposed to being stuck in a menial job that they hate, that's soul crushing. But I have insurance, so what am I going to do? And so it helps the employer out by not having to provide that, but it also helps the employees out, and it gives them, power of mobility, which can only help the economy and only help society.
It doesn't help oligarchs, though. Let's just be honest. It doesn't, because all of those things you just mentioned are things that hurt oligarchs in specific, like being in a menial job. Those menial jobs are provided by oligarchs, and in which they're extracting the value of our labor from us. You know what I mean? So it's definitely a situation where, like you said, the system is very much designed and working by design. And it's not that we live in a broken system, it's that we live in a system that works perfectly fine how it's supposed to. So, kind of looking at that and pivoting towards the shooting we had in El Paso yesterday, as residents of the Vegas Valley, of course, we had the largest mass shooting in history here, at least in the country's history. What do you guys think about that being by design, and the NRA's movement, and kind of going back to what you were talking about with the money in politics?
Well, I mean, it's very clear that with the money that is involved, especially in regards to the NRA, they don't want them to do anything because it will affect their profits and their bottom line. When, for instance, when we had the assault weapons ban in the 90s and the early part of the 2000s, it worked. I mean, obviously, you'd still have rogue actors, but their capability of doing mass amounts of damage, was nil. In fact, with the shooting that happened in Dayton, they said that he had an assault weapon, he had armor, and had the police not gotten there so fast, he could have killed, you know, 40, 50 people. He's in a very populated area. He was only able to kill 9 and injure a couple others, thank goodness. But I mean, it really does encapsulate how special interest does, you know, does really gum up the process. Because here with like universal background checks, it has something like what 85, 90% approval rating in the public, and they won't even listen to it. I mean, it's one, you know, example of just how symptomatic and broken our system is.
The broken system really is when you have a country that values guns over health care, there's a problem.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.